you doing today, brother?
Good, myself.
All right.
Good.
This is Master Christian. I'm here at the Southwest Veterinarian Clinic. I'm here with my friend Trevor Pendleton. Have Android here. We're talking dogs today. We've been doing lessons. We do lessons at 1:30 every Saturday for people so they can learn some problem solving, so they can be able to solve their issues without spending a lot of money, unless they need to spend a lot of money. But we're here to help. Trevor has some questions for me today that we wanted to deal with about the dog, so there you go.
I need to know obedience.
Obedience.
How to get the dog to listen to me, to do what I say, off one command, not 20, not saying sit, 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 sit. Not doing that.
That's how that works? Well, what you want a willingness to obey. So you want to use what you got to get what you want. You heard that on Players Club, right? Use what you got to get what you want. And when I say that, I mean you want to use your energy. You want to use the funness of who you are. You want to use the positive things that's going on to get the dog to work for you. Once the dog is working for you, you need to praise it with that high energy. If the dog's not working for you, then you need to make some other steps like correction because you disagree with what the dog is doing. But first and foremost, you need the dog's attention. Right, Android? Once you can get some eye contact and anything, a lot of things are possible, but a lot of people are using their dogs and they're never getting any eye contact. The dog is in his own zone, the person's in their own zone, and it's not a relationship. When you have a relationship, different things happen, such as me calling the dog up on a jump or anything. The dog is part of what I got going on. So if you want the dog to be part of what you got going on, you have to be kind of animated about it. But you can't be silly and you can't be a fool because then the dog's not going to listen to you.
Okay.
First things first, you get the dog's attention. And don't call the dog's name. I told you guys the dog's name in the beginning. You won't hear me call the dog's name again because that's not how I manufacture attention. I manufacture attention because I'm just so cool. Didn't they tell you I'm Master Christian?
Yeah.
Hey, so when I move, even though we're just standing still, you see the dog moves with me. It's real calm. It's ballet that we want to do here. We want the dog to understand what's going on and be a part of it. That's that willingness to obey. If the dog is smelling the floor and I don't want the dog to smell the floor, I help the dog with that. The dog's watching everything that's going on and everybody that's going on, and that's the obedience part. Now, the more obedience I get, the better the dog is for other things, such as if the dog is paying attention to me and other people, then the dog can defend me. Out. Then the dog can shut back off and we can keep it moving. So if we want to control what the dog's doing, first and foremost, sit. No sit. You see, she gave me attention, but then I had to follow that up with a no. Because that was like, hey, I told you to sit. Let me get that. Down. Sit. So I'm constantly in the dog's head about what I needed to do. When I slap my leg, that means heel. When I bring the leash around, that means come around me. This is a hand signal. No, that's a correction. That's the most you should have to do to get the dog's attention is a little bump. Now, sometimes corrections are a little harder because the dog needs to be on that page where you want it on. But then we have leash commands where the dog follows the direction of the leash. When I pull up, the dog comes up. When I drop the leash down, the dog goes down. When I slap on my leg, that's another signal to come around me and get back where I need you to get. No heel. Good girl. Sit. Notice how she looks at me in the eye, but not only looks at me in the eye, she's looking you in the eye, she's looking everybody else in the eye, because she's in on the game with the human beings. Everybody's dog's not in on the game. We need to bring the dog into the game. So we need to make them aware that we're human beings and we're top of the food chain on what's going on. Just feeding them does not give you that. It doesn't give you the relationship for obedience. It needs to be structured. It needs to be some scheduling. It needs to be you being a certain way, not the dog. So if you're right and you're able to handle the leash right and do these things correctly, then the dog's going to pay attention to you and you become the coolest man in the world. You think you that cool, Trevor?
I think so.
The coolest man in the world?
coolest man.
I'm already cool. How you gonna be? You could be the man next to the man that's with the coolest man in the world or something. But
Hey, my
the
nephew
dogs
said
let you
I'm
know,
the
man.
coolest.
The dogs let you know.
Well, let me ask you this then.
Go ahead.
How important is that leash and that collar?
This is a training collar. It's called a slip collar. They used to call it a choke chain. We don't use it for choking. We use it for control. This is a leather lead, 5 foot long, thumb through the loop. This is how we hold it. And you asked me the importance of this. If I was a carpenter and I had no hammer and nails, could I build your house?
Nope.
If I was a chef and I had no dishes or knives, could I cook your food?
Nope.
With dogs, it's important to be able to be connected at certain times so you can teach them, so it's a learning experience, not only for the dog, but for you. The only way to teach the dog the right things you want them to do is physically, through the leash. So the leash is 100% of getting this attention. If you get it without the leash, then the animal is deciding to pay attention to you, and that's not what you want. You want the animal paying attention to you because y'all are doing something, not because it's a decision that they made in their mind, because you won't be able to reproduce that decision. You want something that works for you every day. Not one day the dog was cool and then the other days it's not cool. Just as we're having this conversation, Trevor, you see me moving around, my dog's not moving with me now. Before, when I was moving around, the dog was moving with me. Me and this dog have a relationship that I don't even have to say words or show it the leash or do these things. My body language tells the dog what I want. By just backing up and still speaking to you, the dog knows that I didn't want her to come. If I did, I would have let her know, and she would have came. So that's the name of the game. No. So she went over there, and I helped her get back next to me. No. Sit.
So, how often
No sit.
do you put the leash on?
The leash is useful all day, every day. So how often don't you put the leash on is the question. The leash should not be on in a cage. The leash should not be on. If you're having your love session, you don't have to have the leash on, but you want the leash on for structure. So when the leash is not on, you're allowing the dog to do whatever the dog wants to do. Just like you saw Android wander over there, I allow her to do that because I don't want a robot. I could have quickly brought her back. I let her have that a little bit and let her have her head. Then I brought her back to my side because this is where I want her. This is where she belongs right now. And I'm going to handle my leash correctly to make sure that this happens right for me. It doesn't matter what she's doing. It matters what I'm doing. And I'm part of what's going on.
Okay.
So are you part of what's going on in your dog's life, or are you an absentee landlord is the question. Do you just collect your rent? No.
I'm half and
No
half.
sit. Stay. Half and half? No. It's all or nothing. You're either good or bad. There's not a whole lot of in-betweens when we're dealing with animals. Because the animal can't measure if the glass is half empty or half full. The animal just knows it's water in the glass. So, it's been Trevor and Master Christian at the Southwest Veterinarian Clinic. And we're doing some cool things with the dogs.
I learned a lot.
Come on back up here. Oh yeah, baby.